What if I told you that this Sunday at Wembley Stadium, Arsenal have the chance to do something they have not done in years, win a trophy, silence their doubters, and send a message to every club in England and across Europe that this squad is no longer just a project, but a genuine force to be reckoned with. Welcome back to Gunners Updates, the channel where we break down everything Arsenal, and today we are going all in on the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City, the predicted lineup, the tactical breakdown, the key battles, and everything else you need to know before the biggest domestic cup match Arsenal have played in a very long time. Let us start with the bigger picture here, because context matters enormously. Mikel Arteta has been in charge of Arsenal for several years now, and in all that time, he has lifted exactly one trophy, the FA Cup, back in 2020, with a squad that looks almost nothing like the one he has assembled today. The players who have come through this incredible rebuild, the ones who have trained, sacrificed, and bought into every single detail of Arteta's vision, have absolutely nothing to show for it in terms of silverware. No medals, no trophies, nothing tangible to hold up and say, we did this together. That changes on Sunday, or at least, it has every chance of changing, and the importance of that cannot be overstated. The Carabao Cup has historically been dismissed as the lesser trophy, the one that the big clubs rotate for and treat as secondary to the league and European ambitions. But that perception has shifted dramatically in recent years, and Arsenal fans understand better than most what winning this competition could mean in a broader sense. With the team currently leading the Premier League and pushing deep into the Champions League, there is a very real conversation being had about a potential quadruple this season. Winning on Sunday would not just be about the League Cup. It would open the floodgates psychologically, proving to this group of players that they can close out finals, that they can win when it matters most, and that the mentality required to win multiple trophies in a single campaign is already inside them. That is worth an enormous amount. So the question everyone wants answered is simple. Who does Arteta pick? We at Gunners Updates have put together our predicted starting 11 for the Carabao Cup final, and we are walking you through every single selection with the reasoning behind it. Starting in goal, we are backing Kepa Arrizabalaga to get the nod. Kepa has been Arteta's designated cup goalkeeper throughout this competition, and David Raya's outstanding form between the posts in the Premier League is not going to change that arrangement. There is also something rather poetic about giving Kepa his moment on the grandest domestic stage available. Denying him this appearance would feel almost cruel, like a child waking up on Christmas morning to find absolutely nothing under the tree. He has earned this. Moving into the defensive line, at right back we are predicting Ben White to start. Jurrien Timber has been carrying an injury concern heading into the final, and while Arteta is the master of keeping his cards close to his chest in press conferences, if Timber is genuinely unavailable on Sunday, White is the natural and most logical replacement. His composure, his reading of the game, and his ability to operate in a high line all make him a reliable option. That said, if there is even the slightest chance Timber is fit enough to take the field, Arteta will almost certainly give him the opportunity because his quality and impact on the right side of that defense are undeniable. At centre-back, we have William Saliba partnering Gabriel Magalhaes, and honestly this requires very little debate. Saliba has been one of the most transformative signings in Arsenal's recent history. When Arteta finally committed to him as a starter back in August of 2022, after a series of loan spells away from the club, it felt like the moment Arsenal truly began their transition into genuine title contenders. Saliba was not part of the squad when Arsenal last lifted a trophy in 2020, but he will be a central figure at Wembley on Sunday, and that journey in itself is a compelling storyline. Alongside him, Gabriel is one of the most physically dominant and emotionally driven defenders in the Premier League. He elevates his performance in the biggest matches, and the prospect of him going head-to-head with Erling Haaland is absolutely the individual matchup that every football fan should be circling before kickoff. Gabriel against Haaland is appointment viewing, full stop. At left back, we are going with Miles Lewis-Skelly ruled out in favour of Ricardo Calafiori, but more importantly, we are backing Piero Hincapié to start in this one. Lewis Skelly has contributed meaningfully to Arsenal's Carabao Cup campaign, featuring across a significant portion of his domestic minutes in this very competition. But he simply has not had enough consistent game time recently to be considered ahead of the more experienced options available. Hincapié has looked the more confident and assured of the left-back options in recent weeks, and in a final at Wembley, we are backing the informed player to get the start. In the defensive midfield role, there is only one name, and that is Martin Odegaard. Wait, we need to correct ourselves there. Thomas Partey? No, the answer here is Martin Zubimendi, the new heartbeat of Arsenal's midfield engine. Since arriving at the club, Zubimendi has been the connective tissue that makes the entire system function, the player who wins the ball back, recycles possession intelligently, and gives the more creative players in front of him the freedom to express themselves. There is not a shadow of doubt over his inclusion for this final. He has to start. Moving further forward into central midfield, we are predicting Ethan Nwaneri to come into the starting lineup alongside Declan Rice. With Martin Odegaard sidelined through injury and potentially not even available for the bench on Sunday, Nwaneri's excellent recent form has placed him firmly in the conversation for a starting role. The young Englishman scored a stunning volley against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League just days ago, and his performances have carried an energy and confidence that feels perfectly suited to a big occasion. There is also something extraordinary about the timing of his rise. Nwaneri now has the chance to win his third Wembley trophy in less than a calendar year, a remarkable achievement for a player who spent the earlier part of his career simply waiting for his opportunity. He is ready for this moment. Rice, meanwhile, needs no introduction. He is the glue that holds this Arsenal midfield together in the most pressurized situations, the player who wins battles, covers ground, and lifts those around him. His performance on Sunday will be crucial to Arsenal's chances. On the right wing, Bukayo Saka is expected to wear the captain's armband in the absence of the injured Odegaard, and while his form this season has been slightly below the extraordinary standards he set in previous campaigns, there is absolutely no world in which Noni Madueke or Maxdowman start ahead of him in a cup final. Saka is Arsenal's most important player, their talisman, and the player opposition defences must always account for first. He could very much use a big performance at Wembley to remind everyone exactly who he is. On the left wing, the selection is a genuinely fascinating one. Leandro Trossard has been Arsenal's clutch performer throughout this season, the man who consistently delivers in the biggest moments, and he will push hard for a starting berth. However, considering that Gabriel Martinelli has started 6 of Arsenal's 7 cup matches in this competition across the season, the consistency of selection speaks for itself. Martinelli's Premier League form has admittedly been a significant source of frustration for supporters, but in the cup competitions this season, he has been an entirely different animal, relentless, direct, and prolific. He has scored 10 of his 11 goals this season across the Champions League and FA Cup. Interestingly, he has yet to open his account in the League Cup, which could mean a very meaningful moment awaits him at Wembley on Sunday. Up front, Arteta faces perhaps his most complex decision of the entire team selection. Does he hand the start to the £64 million summer signing Victor Gyökeres, revert to Gabriel Jesus, or hand the responsibility to Kai Havertz? Jesus, despite the case for giving him minutes in cup football, feels like the third choice at this stage of the competition and with stakes this high. The real debate is between Gyökeres and Havertz, and after careful consideration, we are backing Havertz to get the nod. The German has looked sharper, more involved, and more dangerous in recent performances, and when you are going to Wembley chasing a first trophy in 5 years, you go with the player giving you the best chance of winning. Right now, that is Havertz. Now let us talk about what this match actually means on a deeper level, because the tactical and lineup breakdown only tells part of the story. Arsenal arrive at Wembley in remarkable shape. They are leading the Premier League, they are through to the Champions League quarter-finals, and the belief running through this squad is at levels not seen in North London for a very long time. Arteta has built something genuinely special here, a team defined by tactical discipline, collective courage, and a winning mentality that grows stronger with every passing month. Lifting the Carabao Cup would not simply add another piece of silverware to the cabinet. It would cement the psychological foundation upon which even bigger achievements can be built. It would prove to every player in that dressing room that this group delivers when it counts. Manchester City arrive at Wembley in a rather different state of mind. Pep Guardiola's side have looked uncharacteristically vulnerable in recent weeks. A frustrating draw against West Ham raised eyebrows, and their exit from European competition at the hands of Real Madrid has cast a shadow over what was expected to be another dominant campaign. However, writing off Guardiola in a final is an exercise in dangerous optimism. This is a manager who has built a culture of winning, who knows how to prepare his team for the highest pressure occasions, and who has a squad still filled with elite individual quality. They will not simply roll over. From a team news perspective, Josh Guardiola is the only confirmed absentee for City, though fatigue could play a significant role following their recent heavy schedule. James Trafford is expected to start in goal as Guardiola's designated domestic cup keeper. Up front, Erling Haaland remains the single most dangerous attacking player on the pitch, and the threat he poses to any defense in world football is simply undeniable. Jeremy Doku's electric pace and directness on the wing will also cause Arsenal problems if given time and space, while the additional creative options available to Guardiola off the bench mean City are never a team to be complacent about regardless of the circumstances. Tactically, the battle in the centre of the pitch will go a long way towards deciding this game. If Arsenal can disrupt City's rhythm early, prevent them from establishing their trademark possession patterns, and impose their own high-intensity pressing game on the match, they will fancy their chances enormously. If City are allowed to settle and dictate the tempo, they have the quality to suffocate Arsenal's attacking opportunities and grind the match towards a more conservative outcome. The wide areas will be equally critical. Saka on the right, and whichever player starts on the left for Arsenal must be willing to engage defensively while remaining sharp and clinical going forward, because 1 or 2 moments of magic in the final third could be the difference between lifting the trophy and going home empty-handed. In terms of our prediction at Gunners Updates, we are backing Arsenal to edge this one in what promises to be an extremely tight, nervy, and captivating contest. Arsenal's momentum, their hunger for that first piece of silverware as a collective, and their tactical clarity under Arteta give them a slight edge. That said, City's experience in finals and their individual brilliance ensure this will go right down to the wire. We would not be surprised at all to see this one go to extra time, but we are going with Arsenal to find a way through. Our predicted score is Arsenal 2, Manchester City 1. On a separate but equally exciting note, Arsenal's European campaign this season has been nothing short of sensational, and the financial implications of their success are starting to become very significant indeed. The Gunners won every single match during the Champions League phase, a genuinely remarkable achievement that secured smooth progression into the knockout rounds. They navigated the round of 16 successfully and have now advanced to the quarter-finals, placing themselves firmly among the elite clubs still competing for the biggest prize in European club football. According to reports from Football London, Arsenal earned approximately £48.9 million from the league phase of the competition alone. Their progression to the quarter-finals has added a further £10.9 million to that total. These are extraordinary figures that highlight just how significant sustained Champions League success is not only for the club's prestige, but for its financial health and long-term growth strategy. UEFA has deliberately structured its prize money to reward clubs who go deep into the competition, which means the further Arsenal advance, the greater the financial returns. Reaching the semi-final would add approximately £13 million more. A final appearance would contribute an additional £16.1 million, and should Arsenal go on to win the entire competition, a further £5.7 million would be awarded on top of everything else. The incentive to keep winning could not be clearer. Beyond the UEFA prize money, there is also the commercial dimension to consider. Many of Arsenal's sponsorship agreements contain performance-related clauses, which means the club has been quietly generating additional revenue simply by continuing to win matches and progress through the tournament. Every game played under the Champions League spotlight increases the club's global visibility and strengthens its appeal to commercial partners around the world. Finally, there is an exciting longer-term conversation developing around the FIFA Club World Cup, and Arsenal are right at the heart of it.